Irma, it's so good to see you. It's been a bit more than a year, but great seeing you again.
Lovely seeing you.
And you're now promoted to Mompreneurs Ambassador.
Yeah. Actually in the title. That's a title actually that I hold very close to my heart, because it's such an honor representing these amazing women.
Yeah, great. A year ago, I was at the shared workspace of Mompreneurs in the 6th district. How has it been over the last weeks? Where do you women work? Do you still make use of the workspace? And how has it been?
I think it has been a fairly roller coaster type experience. The place where we met last time, Cup 10, the community office, is a place that invited us to have face-to-face meetings, but the Mompreneurs community have always been online. One of the reasons is that Erika Delleman, who called it to being, lives in Switzerland, and that's where she moves the whole community, which has grown ever since we met. There are over 9,000 active members of the group since then. And I think some people find it easier than others. So I did put the feelers out to make sure that I was accurately representing the community. So if you want, I can give you a couple of different takes on
yes, please do.
What it's been like as a mompreneur in quarantine. So on the one hand, there are people who are quite used to working from home. So they are quite used to juggling different roles, working, parenting, being a wife or a partner, or doing that on their own. So there is nothing new for them. They knew that this was going to be tough, and it's quite tough, but they are thriving. A lot of people managed to pivot early on. So they are the early adapters who saw opportunity in the quarantine or going online. So you could see that a couple of days after the quarantine, mompreneurs were like firing online, asking others, okay, now I have a business idea. Can we contribute or cooperate? What should we do online? How can I change my business in a way that it works in the quarantine? So for some people, this has been a lovely time of renewal and renewed energy in their business. A lot of mompreneurs also kind of decided to work together. And last time I told you about my favorite feature of the mompreneur community, how they are just taking care of each other. And you can see examples of that they are not letting the others fall off the edge. And for others, this has been incredibly hard. I would be lying if I didn't mention that as well, that it's not just all sugar-coated happiness. For some, staying at home with either on their own or with their husband working from home office, there is an added pressure of having to take care of the children, having to study with them, having to manipulate this unknown circumstance with their business. And also kind of cooking meals 3 times a day. And I don't know what happened to children, but it seems that in the quarantine, they're constantly hungry. So there are those who are still going on with their business, but they're finding it hard to juggle all the roles. And the third group of people are the ones who were hit hardest, whose business can't stay afloat under the current circumstances. And they are looking out to see what's coming next, and they're trying to hold on to their sanity to make sure that they're rock for the family, regardless of what's going on inside of them.
Yeah, no, I think you give a very honest description, because of course it cannot only be rosy. It's great that some of your members are making use of the opportunities and trying to make the best out of it. But all in all, it must be weird. Even though you're used to work and communicate online, there's also an element of social isolation, which is very unattractive.
Indeed. And I think there are a number of different coping mechanisms. And one of the reasons why this group is so valuable is that it provides an online platform where you can go and share your woes and also your successes. Erika has been very firm in curating the content, so it's not just a flood of complaints. And I think after the initial what's going on and the initial kind of reaction of get us out here, help us out, people have been really proactive and trying to kind of find ways in which to make things work. And they're still recommending each other, or there are a lot of people who are, as I said, pivoting with their business, and they're looking for support from within the group. So if they need a web designer or a graphic designer, this is how they keep the economy afloat. And that's something I really like. Like, for example, people who have been hit quite hard in the tourism sector because they have apartments or houses that they let. They are advertising it within the group, and then people are saying, you know, when the quarantine is up and we can go, we'll make sure to stay inland, and instead of going abroad, we'll make sure to spend inside the country. So there is that element of kind of giving back. So paying forward, whoever is in a better situation, they are supporting the others.
And for you personally, what did it mean for you personally? I see that you're in a nice room, you're at home. I'm kind of a curious person, so I also try to look what's going on there behind you, but what has it meant for you personally?
I always remind myself how grateful I am that I have a place to live, I have a family, and I can support myself or the family with some work. So in a way, this has been a fairly nice ride for me. I'm sorry to admit that, but I'm one of those, you know, Mary Poppins. Well, I enjoy baking bread, and I've realized that even though I'm an extrovert, I really like not having to leave the house and saving the time I would spend commuting with, you know, I get to go out in the garden or not a garden, a terrace, and I'm growing my own tomatoes.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm glad to hear so. And after this is over, I mean, when do you think it will be over? Is it over when the government tells you it's over? Is it over for you when there is a vaccine? What makes it for you being over?
I don't think there is a going back. I hope there is no going back. I hope there will be a new normal. I hope that we'll learn from this, and every single person will take on board the learnings that they are working on staying in a quarantine. So I hope that I'm done with this when I figured out how my life will look like after I leave the house, because at the moment I don't know yet.
You say there will be we need some learning. We will not go back as it was. What are your most important takeaways for yourself or for your business or for Mompreneurs?
Oh, again, a tough one. And I did think about this, but
Sorry.
I know, probably going slower. Priorities have changed. I think I find it quite interesting how I barely spend. We spend on good quality groceries, but that's it. And I haven't missed anything that I don't have in the house. So kind of spending less, consuming less, spending more quality time with the children. And that has been a huge change, and you can see how they respond really well to this extra quality attention. Finding joy in the small things, whether that's freshly baked bread or that the sun is out and it's not pouring. Appreciating what you have, and noticing the things that are there. So decide where you want to put your attention, and it's really, really hard. Especially when your circumstances are less than rosy and you're fighting for survival, then it's not that easy to sit outside on the balcony and watch the trees grow. And I'm acutely aware of that, and I want to make sure that there is a balanced picture. I kind of want to see a world that we return to with more gender equality. I hope that the men who have had a taste of what it's like to take care of children and do the work and the food and provide and be a happy person and the rock of the family, they will want to kind of keep doing, carrying their load. But I'm also worried that the longer we stay in the quarantine, the closer we go back to the 50s housewife type. And I want to make sure that that doesn't happen to women. I want to make sure that the first opportunity that people can go back to work, it's not the man going because, well, it's my turn now. But somehow I want to make sure that mothers, entrepreneurs, people who work in 9-to-5 jobs get the rights that they deserve and the quality treatment then that they should have.
We chatted a little bit. Do you have anything else that you would like to say, or that you would like to say to your community? Or because we're going to broadcast this, of course, on our Facebook page.
I do want to take the opportunity to applaud the women who are mothers and also work and stay in the quarantine and provide that calm and patient backbone for their family, because they're doing an enormous job. And I wish them patience and tenderness with themselves. Sometimes it's rough, and I wish they can tune out the noise that comes through social media with everyone leading a perfectly accomplished life in the quarantine. Forget about that. Just rejoice in the small things you managed to achieve, and just do your own journey. And let's support each other the way we can. Those of you who have the means, just support mompreneurs and support local businesses so we keep the economy going as much as we can.
Irma, I fully agree. I give you a virtual high five.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure talking to you again, and I very much look forward to meeting in person out of this quarantine. Let's have a coffee soon.
Thank you so much for your time, and have a lovely day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have fun. Bye.